coming in hot.
Unfiltered, unbored, and unapologetically black. This is Black News Unfiltered, and I'm your host, Bob Edwards. This is a weekly podcast with important black news stories that affect black communities nationwide. So now let's get into some of the stories that are out there right now. Black rappers are being killed at an alarming rate in America. What the hell is happening? In a recent study, it's shown that at least 234 rappers have been killed nationwide since 2020. Murder is in the music. Let me start with a few things I want to say up front. My heartfelt prayers and condolences to the deceased family and friends and fans of the young men and women who have lost their lives to this senseless violence. Just want to know what the hell is going on. My prayers are with them. But let me start out first by saying this. I'm not a music snob or by any way condemning this genre of black music, but I am concerned about certain segments of it. I was born and raised in New York, and I lived and went to school in the Bronx during the birth of rap in the Boogie Down Bronx, as we used to call it back in the 70s. The hottest hip-hop spot in the Bronx back in the day was a club called Disco Fever, known as The Fever. It was on Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. And it showcased acts like LL Cool J, the Fat Boys, Heavy D, Kool Moe Dee, Run DMC, Salt and Pepper, and many others. They had DJs like Eddie Chiba Chiba, who was one of my favorites. And Eddie used to say, "Who makes it sweeter than Eddie Chiba Chiba? Now roll your joint." I used to like that. And then it was Grandmaster Flash, DJ Hollywood, and many others. As a young man in New York, I worked at Atlantic Records and then at RCA Records in their R&B promotion departments. I kind of later changed directions and focused my sights on radio broadcasting. I had an internship at WRVR, which is now a defunct all-jazz station, and WBAI in New York. And with some help from a few of my friends and mentors, the late greats like Eddie OJ from WLIB, Frankie Crocker from WWRL and WBLS in New York, Vaughn Harper from BLS, Van J. McDuffie from WRVR, and the great Paul Johnson, Fat Daddy from WWIN in Baltimore. These guys, they kind of schooled me to the game, so to speak, and they'll always be in my hearts and spirit. Eventually, I became a radio DJ and on-air personality at a few AM and FM radio stations in North Carolina, Baltimore, and in New York. Long story short, I've got about 45 years in the game. I'm not your typical old head. And with that being said, I want to get to the issues at hand. Since 2018, 234 rappers have been killed, murdered, or slain nationwide and counting. These numbers, man, they're real. And you can fact check me easy. I don't pull numbers out my ass. I don't fabricate, cap, BS, because that's not what we do at Black News Unfiltered. We bring it to you real and unfiltered, like it or not. And you can get this complete list by just sending us an email at blacknewsunfiltered@gmail.com, and we'll shoot this list out to you. Some of the rappers you know are famous names. Some you might have heard of. Some are local rappers on the come up. Some are just rapping as a side gig or a hobby. But nevertheless, these guys are dead. And again, my condolences to the family and friends and fans. I say that with love and with the utmost respect. But here are a few names that you might recall. XXX Tentacion, 20 years old, died in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Nipsey Hussle, 33 years old, died in 2019 in L.A. Pop Smoke, out of New York, died at 20 in 2020 in L.A. Mo 3, died at 20 years old in 2020 in Dallas, Texas. Triple Beans, 29 years old, died in 2020 in Newark, New Jersey. King Von, out of Chicago, died at 26 in 2020 in Atlanta, Georgia. OTF, D-Sang, 32 years old, died in 2021 in Harvey, Illinois. KTS Dre, 31, 31, died in 21 coming out of the courthouse, actually out of the jailhouse in Chicago. FBG Cash, 31 years old, I liked him. He died in 2022 in Chicago. Nadi Osama, 14 years old, died in 2022 in New York City. PNB Rock, 30 years old, out of Philadelphia, died in L.A. in 2022. Lotta Cash Desto, she was 22. She died in Houston, Texas in 2022. Trill Black, 22 years old, died in 2022 in D.C., Washington, D.C. Jack Boy Little Don, 31 years old, died in 2022 in Chicago. And then we know Takeoff, 28 years old, died in 2022 in Houston, Texas. This is just a small portion of a growing list of murders of rap, hip-hop artists and performers. My question is, why is this happening to our talented young people? Yeah, rapping is an art form and a talent that requires musical knowledge and a lot of attributes, but why is the death rate so high? And it's climbing as we speak. Listen, you don't see this in any other genre of music. You don't see it in pop, rock, R&B, country, reggae, salsa, jazz, punk rock, blues, gospel, or any other genre. Come on now, let's keep this shit real. Why is the genre of music that we invented turned into a vehicle for promoting violence, drug abuse, decadent behavior, hatred, and destruction of our young people and our community? Rap didn't start out this way. The answer is pure and simple, man. Murder and crime is in the music. With the huge exponential growth of gangster rap, trap music, and drill rap nationwide and worldwide, the core content and the lyrics and the imagery of these popular genres of rap is basically gang culture, misogynism, sex, money, murder, violence, drugs, obscene language, criminal activity. And it's used in their recordings, their live performances, their videos, and in their social media postings. Glorification of this destructive, negative, and antisocial behavior has come to become normalized for our Black youth and young adults. This thing has been capitalized, monetized, and exploited by record companies and production companies, broadcast and media outlets. They all rake in multi-millions of dollars annually. And this increasing trend in rap has actually turned rap artists and performers from friendly competition between entertainers that turn them into ops. Thus, what do? They create vulgar and disrespectful diss tracks about each other, mocking either their dead friends, associates, or family members, or making threats to do physical harm to each other. And many, many times, as you know, this result has resulted in death. And usually it's to someone that one of them or someone that they're associated with. It's crazy. This is the music business, not the killing business. The damaging effect on teenagers and young people listening and watching their favorite rap performer flashing large stacks of money, flashing guns and assault rifles, wearing large amounts of ostentatious jewelry or bling, doing drugs and riding in expensive exotic automobiles, it has an effect. Make no mistake about it. This influences young minds and initiates desires to emulate and to imitate those images and actions. And man, that ain't good. Since 2015, police officers have fatally shot at least 135 unarmed Black men and women nationwide, and that's according to a National Public Radio investigative report. Black rappers, they've doubled that in 3 years. Several media outlets and sources have now deemed and dubbed at being a rapper is one of the most dangerous professions in the entertainment industry, averaging approximately 50 deaths a year. Are you kidding me? The music industry has many of our young youth kind of twisted up, got them believing that this is their culture and that they should be proud to represent their impoverished hood and be willing to die or take another's life for the honor of being a real stand-up or a real one or a real G to protect their impoverished condition. This sounds crazy, but take a look at it. I'm Bob Edwards. This is one Black man's opinion, and you can find it on Black News Unfiltered. Stay woke. I'm out.
You know what it is?
Black News Unfiltered.
Coming in hot. Yeah, straight up.
Hey, you hearing the pro? I'm spitting
spitting a flow that you know. Higher level thinking outcome to show. Knowledge of self is a thing you must know. You see what they playing, they steady betraying the culture we making, exploiting and taking. Look at them faking what we are creating. Now you mistaken what's real and what's faking. This ain't what do for the money they making. They sell out their people, their culture, their nation. Sell out their soul for a radio station so they can be playing in heavy rotation. You see what I'm saying? Our culture they taking, but that's not enough. It's our spirit they breaking, and only the culture can see what I'm saying. Cause only the culture will see them betraying. You see what they playing, you see what they saying, and you cannot see us. Our people ain't slaying. Well, maybe you do, and then maybe you don't, and then maybe you will, and then maybe you won't. But it's our community that's losing hope with the greed and the crime, and the police are joking. The TV is playing that okey doke while our people are dying. You seeing them joke with that cheating and lying. You seeking the vote when they telling our people now this is they hope, but then anything changed with the last vote. No, the time before that did we pass on? No. Oh, we've been getting this chapter 11 while racists with weapons are shooting our reverence. A message from heaven with all that you get and get understanding, overstanding this lesson with all of the bling and the cash that you get and you shovel for sure. It's the boy you neglecting, the thieves and the liars. They all in your section. I'm bringing my people a different direction. Crazy.